Welcome to 4th and 9 to victory. This is our post-game review and recap of the USC Trojan versus the Perdue Boilermakers. I'm your boy, Fight on Kristen.
And I'm your co-host B Jinx.
Yes, sir. So be very interesting. A lot of things happened yesterday, starting with I think we was on our live for 8 hours.
Close to it. It was a marathon, man. It was a
Yeah,
marathon.
we did a whole work shift, right?
Right.
I know everybody know by now it was a 3-hour delay as far as for the weather there in West Lafayette. But once the games got to kicking in, we definitely was still on, talk through the game and what we see. First off, we want to give kudos. We're always excited. Victory Sunday, the USC Trojans was able to go into West Lafayette and defeat the Perdue Boilermakers 33 to 17.
33-17.
Yes, sir. And let me go back because I had the wrong slide up. There we go, 33 to 17. So definitely shout out to our USC Trojans going on the road. We all talked about it, right? Previously, we were 0-14 in the last 14 attempts playing in the Central Eastern Standard Time. Man, they endured and overcame a lot with that long delay, came out, got the job done. Again, USC was victorious. USC 33, Perdue 17. So shout out, fight on to the USC Trojans. All right, moving right along, we're going to get started with what we do every Sunday with our recap, right? We want to look at some stats and numbers here and just go over what we seen yesterday in our leaders. So we'll start with offense. Of course, our quarterback Jaden Maiava, he was 17 for 28 for 282 yards. Didn't have a touchdown through the air, but he had one on the ground. I take that any day, especially in the wind. The good thing is we're through game 3, not an interception, not a fumble, no turnover responsible for. That's great. Their quarterback, Ryan Brown, he put up some numbers yesterday.
Yeah, he did. He put up some
30,
numbers.
24 for 39, 305 yards. But he had one TD, right? He had one that was a fluke play on the ground as well, but he had 3 interceptions. Not only did he have 3 interceptions, he had 2 fumbles. He didn't lose those fumbles. Moving on to the rushing, got Waymon Jordan led us with 18 carries for 77 yards. Had a 4.3 average. That's a good average, right? 4.3. You do that 3 times in a row. That's a first down. He had a TD. His longest was 15. In our pregame, that dude I said that we had to stop on Purdue side, Devin Mockabee, their running back. He had 12 carries for 45 yards, 3.8 average. His long was 17. Man, when we get to the wide receivers, which we're on right now, Jacoby Lane, this is big. He averaged 38.3 yards a carry yesterday.
He had something like 115 yards receiving.
Yeah. He had 3 catches for 115 yards, which led the team in yards. Makai Lemon led us in receptions. He had 5 for 63. McCree also had 3 receptions for 67 yards. So
the tight ends are leading up big for us this season so far. The tight ends have been coming up big, but who I've always said is the best receiver in college football. That's Mr. Lane.
Yes, sir. We have been able to get the tight ends involved, which is a good thing. The offensive line, we'll talk about it more, but for the most part, when you're tight end, and we're going a lot of 12 set, right, with 2 tight ends. Right. So one tight end is able to stay in and help chip block and all that. So the other tight end can get out in space, but the offensive line has done a pretty good job to this point. I'm not saying it's perfect, but a good job with being able to protect without help. So that allows the tight end to go out into the routes. Purdue, their leading receiver was E.J. Horton. His average was 14 yards a catch. He had 5 catches for 70 yards. Michael Jackson, we all know Michael Jackson, our good friend Michael Jackson, former USC player. He had 7 catches, so he led them in receptions, but he had 70 yards as well. So let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. Look at our leaders there, right?
Right.
Eric Gentry. Are you surprised? Eric Gentry led the team in tackles again, 8 with 8, and 8 of them were solo. He had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. So he led the team there. Bishop Fitzgerald, of course, led us in interceptions with 2 big interceptions, right?
Big time. Both
While
of
they
them
was
big
in,
time interception.
right, while they was in four.
Both of them came at critical points in the game. One of them, they were inside of the red zone. I want to say
That's
inside
both
the
of them.
10-yard line. Both of them. And
Both of them.
he came up big time. So shout out to Bishop Fitzgerald.
You know, um, Eric Gentry led the team too in sacks, right? We had
Right.
a total of 5 sacks on the day. Gentry had 2. Christian Pierce had 1 when he came off that edge on that safety
Right.
blitz, which was nice. Cameron Fountain had a half a sack. Devin Floyd Bicard had a sack, and no, Floyd Bicard had a sack, and Devin Tompkins had a half a sack as well. I don't know how Ramsey didn't get a half a sack on that pick 6. Well, it's not a sack because of the pick 6. Yeah,
Right.
when him and Tompkins met there at the quarterback. Miles Slusher, he led Purdue in tackles. Right, he had 12, and 9 of them was for solo. Of course, Makai Lemon led us in kick returns. We only got a chance to return 1. So, and this game was crazy. It wasn't a lot of putting in this game at all.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a lot of punting.
Yeah, USC didn't even USC didn't even punt, right? But so that was great there. And that is our leaders on defense. So we're going to go ahead and get into our first segment. Our first segment today is what we do a lot, and this is actually not the first segment, right? I think I messed up on the slides. So our first segment is our Fight On, our Victory Sunday segment, our Trojan success. So I'll start with you, B. What did USC do well in this game? And what do we need to continue to do that we did well in this game that'll lead to our success and keep us on the winning track?
The one thing that I think that we did well in this game, and I'm sure we'll get into it as the segment goes along, we ran the ball. I've been pleasantly surprised with Lincoln Riley. Changing the stripes. I've always said, Tiger never changes the stripe. Well, I was wrong with Lincoln Riley. In the past, he's always reverted back to passing the ball, which is his true nature, which I've always thought was true nature. But we had gotten some intel this season that Riley was going to commit to the runs, and he has committed to the run. I think that has helped us down the stretch in ball games. We haven't had much opposition this season, but yesterday I think it was our first true test, and when we needed to run the ball, he ran the ball. So that's what I think we did. We've been doing pretty good so far. And as far as what was the second part of the question?
What did we do in yesterday's game, right? That we did successful, what the team did great, and what do we need to take away from yesterday as far as the successful things, the continuation to keep success.
Just continue to keep with the game plan. As a matter of fact, I think we had more rushing attempts than we had passing attempts, correct? Because I think Maava only had
28
passing attempts. So when have you seen a Lincoln Riley offense with the
we had 28 pass attempts to 39 rushes.
39 rushes. I think I thought I counted up 44. I thought Maava had run the ball also, but
I'm looking at the stats, and it got total rush attempts including Miami. It's at team stats 39.
Okay, all right. Well, either way, we still had more rushing attempts than we did passing attempts. Now, we've seen that over the past 3 games where the run has really been effective for the team. So that's what I say I would take away from it, and I hope he continues to build on it.
Got you. Actually, I'm looking at it. So Eli Sanders had 7 carries. Waymon Jordan had 14. King Miller had 4. Jaden Mava had 7. And it's in a total of 32.
Okay.
Rush attempts.
32 of rush attempts? Okay.
Still have more. So, that's a little bit, over, 50-50, right? We had 28 pass attempts to 32 rush attempts. So that's still a good number. As far as me, what we did well yesterday, and kudos to the team. And this segment we love to do because we just don't want to look at schematically wise and say what we need to improve, but we want to give honor where honor is due, right? And point out the good things that the team is doing and what we can keep doing to continue those things. The first thing is, like you said, running the ball, the willingness to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the box number, we only had 2 runs for negative yards, and it was like -1. So it was right at the line of scrimmage, right? It wasn't 5 yards in the backfield. But my thing was at first the run wasn't hitting, and what we were saying on the live is like, keep running them, giving the body blows.
Right.
Those lanes are going to open up. They're gonna they don't have depth. They're going to get tired, and we've seen that. Kudos to Riley. I mean, that last drive after Bishop Fitzgerald got the interception when we was up 13, it was all run plays.
All run
it was
plays.
not.
Right.
It was not one pass play. We ran the ball.
Right.
We were sitting there counting. Was like, that's 3 straight times. Run it again. That's 4 straight times. Run it again. Like they wasn't stopping it. Right. They didn't stop it on that drive until it tightened up in the goal line. We ended up kicking that field goal going up 16. But it's if we can continue to do that and milk away games, help keep defense off the field as well, and run that clock out, that's going to lead to our success. Another great thing we did is that our defensive line, they got pressure.
Right.
Even against that RPO, they still was getting there. When someone's getting the ball at their hand like really quick on them quick routes, a lot of times it's hard for the pressure to get there. But we had 5 sacks and we were pressuring him over and over again. Even when we didn't get to him for a sack, we were back there, right? And it was affecting him. Remember what I said pregame? This is only his 4th start. Put some pressure.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's gonna throw. He's gonna tighten up. And he did. He threw 2 of them, right? And the pressure was getting to him. So also continue to get turnovers. We did a great job yesterday of causing turnovers on defense, right?
Right. That's right.
3 interceptions, sacks, negative plays. We've done a lot better job of that this year, and they did a great job yesterday. So keep doing that. Keep running the ball. Start fast. We started fast. Defense got 3 and out. Offense went down. First drive got a field goal. Came back next drive. And got a touchdown. So we didn't just come out flat, and that says a lot about the coaching staff and his team to be on the 3-hour delay and to not come out flat on the road. And they came out with an intensity that we wanted to see. So keep doing that, especially on the road. Remember, I was saying, take the crowd out, take their belief away out, and put them behind. Right. The last thing I want to say is what they did very successful to me, and I know you're going to agree. And I don't want to get you boiling, but another thing they did, and we need to continue to do, is overcome adversity. Right. Yesterday was a lot of adverse situations, right? With the delay, and you already know what I'm going to say, with the referee and with the referee in the calls, right? That, and like I said, we can't cry and complain about it. Yeah, it's unfair. Somebody need to be calling the Big Ten office because a lot of those calls were just ridiculous. Some of the calls were warranted, you know what I mean? But that punt, when our defender just jumped up to block it and the offensive lineman,
you know who that was, right? You know who that was? That was Matthews, the tight end. They got that penalty called on him.
Yeah, but that shouldn't have been a penalty. The lineman hit him in the leg, flipped him over. The penalty against Thanos, I mean, he was getting double teamed. I don't know how they said he was holding, but yeah. Right. And there was a lot more in there. Not all the calls the referees made were bad, but there was enough in there, at least 5.
We had enough offside penalties in that 4th quarter.
Yeah. And so what the team did is adverse situations on the road with a delay, a lot of back call from the referee, right? They was overcome adversity. I just feel like if this was last year's team, that's the game we lose. That felt like the Maryland, Minnesota when we played them, right? But they was over to overcome all that adverse situations and everything that was going on. And so we need to continue doing that. That's what we did very successful yesterday. And if we continue to do that, going down through the rest of the season, we will have a great season. All right, let's move on to our next segment. All right. Men lie, women lie. Numbers never lie, but numbers can be misleading. And if this is your first time ever joining us in on our show, this is a segment where we look at the stats, which we just did and broke down in 2 segments ago. And we're saying, what about these numbers that if you actually watch the game, stick out to you that might not be telling the whole story, good or bad. I know just from our live and when we was discussing it, we both have the same thing that we had last week is that if you look at Purdue's total rushing yards and what the game displayed and what happened in the game, it just doesn't seem like it aligns.
Right.
Purdue had a total rushing yards of 62. And as you're watching the game, you're like, we can't stop while you're watching the game live, you're like, we can't stop the run. Like they're gashing us, they're getting 4 yards a pop, they're getting 10 yards, they're getting 12 yards a pop here. And so since we both have this, we're gonna look at it a little different. I'm gonna stop sharing this screen real fast, and I'm gonna share another screen to kind of explain more about what we mean when we say men lie, women lie, numbers never lie, but they can be misleading.
They did appear to be gashing us on the ground on yesterday, but as Christian stated, we're going to dive into that right now and explain to you how important it is for our defensive line to hold up and not
and linebackers to have gap integrity.
And for linebackers to have gap integrity. That's correct.
Right. Yeah. So if you look at their total rush yards, they had 62 rush yards, right? But if you break down and you're watching the game, they had over 10 plays that they rushed for 4 yards or more, right? And look at the down and distance, right? You have a 3rd and 10, they run for 9 yards, right? Mm-hmm. You have a 4th and 1, they go for 10 yards. You have a 2nd and 15, they rush for 17 yards. You have a 2nd and 7, they go for 4. 1st and 10, they go for 4, right? So if we just not going to go through all these, but they had over 10 plays to where they gave up 4 more yards on the ground. And that's why we say numbers can be misleading because a lot of these runs were putting them in great position and extending drives for them during the game. And so if you just came in, you looked at rush, you'd be like, oh, you shut them down because they only had 62 yards. But what happened is that our defensive line, our defense did a great job of combating giving up all these gashes on the ground for 4 yards or more on the ground with negative plays, right? With sacks, with tackling the running backs in the backfield. Yeah, we're tackling the running backs in the backfield with sacks, which took away from their rush yards and what they were actually able to accomplish on the ground. Purdue had negative 111 yards. Well, we forced them to negative 111 yards, which means they lost 111 yards from us getting sacks and tackling them for their running back for negative plays, which combated all these gashes that we were doing. In the long run, it's very important to not give up so many plays of 4 yards or more on the ground. But if we could continue to cause 111 negative yards to combat that, then you would take that. And I'm going to pass it over to B because B had brought up a good point last week about, we might be giving up these yards when you're watching the games and we're getting engaged, but the importance of being able to combat it with negative plays. Go ahead, B.
Yeah, that's right. As far as giving up those big plays where the defense gashed us on the ground, we were able to get in there in the backfield, cause some disruption, cause some incomplete passes, rush some throws. But what was most important is we were able to get those TFLs behind the line of scrimmage and those sacks, which makes those numbers look better. So that's the purpose for this whole segment about the men lie, women lie, numbers don't, but they can be misleading. The issue is that could potentially be a problem down the road is that, we'll run into an offensive front that won't give up the amount of sacks and TFLs that we've been getting over the past couple of weeks, over the past 2 or 3 weeks. So, but I think that's a good thing for our defense. It gives them confidence. One thing I want to point out during the live, we were mainly giving up a lot of these yards in the first half, but I said that Coach Lynn, he's a second half. He's great at making second half adjustments. When they came out in the second half, you notice we added in, we mixed up the defensive front a little bit. We ran some more stunts, and our defensive line really got after it, which caused the quarterback to rush some of those throws, and we were able to get some another 3 interceptions. So I think we should be leading the country with interceptions so far through the first 3 games of the season. So that I think is a positive for our defense. But if only we can cut down on some of those gas plays to where, hey, look, we can get that stop, get them to 39, and maybe even get them into a punting situation that'll bode well for our defense to get them off the field a lot sooner, and we can get our offense back out there. So that's why I made the comment about those numbers can be misleading, but it's also a step in the right direction for our defense, especially our front four.
Yep. And another thing that happened in the second half, when you have issues stopping the run and issues with gap integrity, and it's not just our front four, right? Gap integrity includes linebackers as well, right? Yeah. Like they have to have that gap integrity, but the offense going out and going up double points, that's a big thing, right? Because now you take the team's desire, not their desire, but you kind of handcuff them to where they can't really stay patient and stick to the run, or they're playing right into your hand to burn the clock out. And so a lot in the second half, because we were able to get a little bit of separation, they would have to go away from their game plan. But like you said, Lynn did make some adjustments. He even made some adjustments to the RPO that was killing us in the first half. But one of the biggest adjustments that he made in the second half is that I seen he switched up some linebackers, right? We seen Tamir Robertson start the second half and just come through and blow the running back up in the backfield. We also seen what's the name get involved, number 31, the Jaden Walker. We also seen him get involved and show some flashes. And so Lynn saw some things on the field.
Yeah, Jaden has really impressed me. Yeah, Jaden has really impressed me over the past couple of weeks with getting in his physicality, his ability to track down the runner quickly and get him down to the ground. That's what's most important. Is one thing to get there, but can you get him down to the ground for that TFL?
Yep. And Lynn seen some of the things that we seen on the game as far as linebackers not some linebackers not being in the right gap, some linebackers not missing tackle. I mean, we seen one individual miss 3 tackles in a row, right? And so Lynn seen the same thing. He made that adjustment. Lynn also made adjustment because a lot of people are going to be like, our corners are bad, but they're not realizing that we're playing a lot of cover 2 shell. And when you run into RPO, the cornerback is not responsible for that slant route. The cornerback is responsible for the flat, right? That's your line. That's where your line, where they're throwing that ball, that they're throwing where the linebacker is supposed to be. But it's hard to go.
They're supposed to get
they're supposed to drop there. But it's hard in the RPO for the simple fact is that how they was hitting us. We just looked at the yards on the ground, right? It makes linebackers start cheating up to be able to help stop on the run, and he was just throwing it right where they left, which is what you're supposed to do in the RPO. But if you notice, every time that Fitzgerald got his interception, we wasn't in a cover 2. We went more to putting him in a rover position, and the quarterback threw it right. And the quarterback threw it to him right every time. So it's like Lynn's like, okay, we're gonna play this 2 and do this. As soon as we got down here, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna get out this 2. We're gonna give you this cover 2 look, but we're gonna put this rover here. And Fitzgerald got him every time.
And it's all about timing. They have been gashing us, like you said, Kristen. They have been gashing us all game with that slant. They even got a touchdown off of that slant. I think the receiver scored on Carlos Nicholson. It was almost the same play that they had.
We can't say that he just scored on the Carlos Nicholson because we wasn't in man in that situation.
Well, that's not his, the one that was an end zone.
That's not his responsibility, right?
Yeah, and you're right. I'm just saying, as far as from a defensive perspective, if I see him, right there in close proximity, okay, he's going to pick him up. That's just by nature. But The one where the last interception where Fitzgerald baited the quarterback. Again, they had been eating off of that all night, and Lynn called the perfect play at the right time, and we were able to. And that interception pretty much sealed the deal for the game.
You know, and that's the RPO. The RPO will eat up a cover two every time, especially if you can run the ball successfully and the linebacker's got to come up because you're just going to throw right where the linebacker lead.
Right.
That's the purpose of it. So in order when you're playing like an RPO type team, especially if they want to get the ball out their hand, you really have to go more to like a press man with a rover, or if you're gonna run a cover two, you're gonna have that rover right there sitting in the middle, reading the quarterback eyes, and that's basically what Lynn went to on those plays, and it brought a success. Like I said, that quarterback was inexperienced, right? And so we knew he was gonna go to the well one too many times. You know what I mean? Like he had been going to, but the good thing about it is, I mean, we're gonna see that same offense. Well, not the spread, but we're still going to see that RPO offense against Illinois. That's their quarterback's favorite thing to throw to, right? They're reading it. We want to run the ball, so the linebacker cheat up, throw the slant behind you. They don't run three wide receivers, and but they still run that RPO. So that's definitely good practice that we've seen it, right? And we'll be able to game plan for that. All right. Moving on to the next segment. This is a segment we call Never Accept Anything in a Win You Wouldn't in a Loss, meaning what took place yesterday that you just can't accept even though we win, because if it continues to happen down the road, it's going to hurt us. So never accept anything in a win that you wouldn't in a loss. What did you see yesterday that as a coach, as a team, you're talking about, you're focusing and you're nailing in on that, guys? We can't do this if we want to reach our goals. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The penalties, man, the offsides and the false starts. I never would accept that, and I hadn't seen this many, offside penalties in the first two games. We were pretty much somewhat disciplined. I don't know whether or not it was, the defensive lineman, the down lineman was ready to get after the quarterback, and maybe they changed up the snap count on them. So we were trying to time it, you know what I'm saying, to get past those offensive linemen. I'm happy about the aggression, but again, that can come back to bite us, in a game to where, it's a lot tighter than what it was, or maybe a game that we're down and you got a 4th and 2 and we do the same thing, and then they get the first down and ice that clock out. So that's thing that we got to clean up. Again, I'm happy that the guys are being aggressive, but you have to be disciplined within that aggression. Discipline is going to win those ball games for us, to where, when we're down in a situation like that and we just got to have a stop, we could possibly, force the offense into a delay a game. So that's something that I won't accept, that I won't accept in the loss that I would in the win, is the amount of offside penalties that we got in that game.
Yeah, man. It was, for me, like, to sum up everything you're saying and everything that I've seen unacceptable, is just a lack of discipline. Right. We came into the year and saying, with the new strength, Coach True, the new coach, how disciplined his team was going to be. Not saying that this team is not disciplined, but it was a lack of discipline yesterday, and it could be, again, like they were put into some adverse situations, right? Yeah, that long delay. Again, first road game, right? First road game, hostile environment. Purdue came in believing, right, that they were changed and they were a better team. They had a lot of stuff going on where they had a lot of alumni back, Drew Brees and all them, that 98 Rose Bowl team getting their kudos. But it was a lack of discipline. It was, we had 2 offsides in a row.
Right.
There was 2 offsides in a row just with the simple the clap of the hands, right? And I do believe that what happened is that our defensive linemen had got a hold pretty much of their snap and their cadence through the flow of the game, and they realized, hey, we got to go on 2. We got to do something. We got to switch some of difference to slow these guys down, and they caught us on those. The hands to the face has to stop, right? Defensive line.
That's becoming
you Yeah, you preferenced it last week. That was one of the things you brought up
Right.
from about the first 2 weeks. Here we are in the third week, and we're still getting hands to the face, and
Right.
just the amount of penalties. Offense had. I mean, they didn't have no holding or anything, but offense had a couple false starts, just two. Offensively, Jacoby Lane had a holding penalty. You can deal with that down the field. You know what I'm saying? But offensively, there were not many penalties. Most of the penalties and the yards came on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, we don't agree with the referees on a lot of the calls, but I mean, situations like you said, we had got them in a 3 and out. They're about to punt. We get a penalty, give them a first down. They go down and score on that drive, right? When we should have been off. When we should have been off the field. So it was just a lack of discipline for me. And also what I can't accept is the poor tackling that we had yesterday.
Right. Oh, yeah. We had a lot of missed tackles yesterday.
A lot of missed tackles, man. People in position and just not making a play. As my college football coach used to say, be an athlete. Break down, make the play. Be an athlete. And so, but the thing about it is, I know we're in the third week and we shouldn't be saying at this point that these things can be cleaned up, but these things can be cleaned up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We can have a lot worse issues. We can be saying we don't have depth, we don't have the talent, we don't have the coaching staff, right? So these things here, if you driving and you continue to work on this discipline through the week, and I know it's going to be brought up this week because in Riley's press conference, he spoke to the amount of penalties and how they need to clean up, and they're going to, work on it. So I know it's going to be brought up through watching film and through team meetings on that. So I feel good for it, feel good about it, but those are just the things that, I can't accept in a win that I wouldn't in a loss. So,
right.
All right, we're going to move on. I'm interested. I was trying to read your mind to see what your play of the game was, so I can go different. But I was like, what is he gonna say? Because this is the first game we done had this year where it's really truly been like some game altering plays. And I was trying to figure out where you was gonna go so I can go different, but we'll see if we're on the same. We'll see if we're on the same page.
I tell you what, why don't you go first? No,
I want you to go first because I want you to go first because I put a couple just in case.
Offense, we doing offense and defense, right?
We're doing offense and defense.
Yeah,
let's do offense and defense.
For play of the game.
Let's do offense and defense.
Okay, cool. All right, so we will start with offense, of course.
Okay, you let me go offense, and then you can go defense first.
Cool.
All right. Let's start with offense. My play of the game on offense is going to be Jaden Mava's touchdown on his own read, and this is why. Before that, we was having a hard time getting the ground game going and opening up some holes. And if you remember on the previous series, right before them, we was watching, I said Jaden Mava was due for a big run. I said, if he keep that ball, it's wide open because those ends are crashing down, right? The next time we got the ball, what we see, he kept it on his own read, took it for 14 yards, start using his legs more. And that's what began to open up the ground game for us because them ends couldn't just crash down. They had to think about it as they came upfield. And that's what started opening up the run lanes for our running backs. So I'm going to say offensively, that was a play of the game for me because before then we were struggling to get the run game going. Offensively, what you got? Your play of the game.
Offensively, my play of the game is the pass to Tanook Hines.
Actually, that was nice.
Actually, he had two moments. One of them he barely missed, but the first one I think we needed it too. I think and you had mentioned it. It's like a 3rd and 9 or something like that.
Yep.
And he went up, he climbed the ladder for that ball. For him to be a true freshman, I see why now he was slotted into that third wide receiver position. This kid is going to be special. Tanook Hines. And another player of the game with the one-handed catch attempt in the end zone where coming down with it and he was
that can't be a play of the game. He didn't catch it, and it's a play of the game.
I said he had almost. I said almost because that would have been my play of the game, right? So, but
if he would have caught that,
shout out to that young player, to Nuck Kynes, man. He's a dog, and he's going to be real special down the road. I think he's really going to fill in that role that Makai Lemon is playing right now. Once Makai heads off to the NFL, Tunukai's going to slide right on into that spot.
So, shout out to Jerry Maeva. Shout out to Hines for our offensive play of the game. That's not our impact players. We'll get to that,
right,
but those are the plays that we think change. So, shout out to those two. And now we're going to move over to defense. I'll let you go first. What was the play of the game on the defensive side of the ball? What was the play of the game on the offensive side?
Well typically,
I mean, on the
on the defensive side. Well, I got to give it to the big uglies, right? Josh Jarrett. I got to give it to him. I can't remember who tipped the pass. I want to say it was Devin.
No, Tompkins. It was Tompkins and Ramsey met at the quarterback at the same time.
But one of them tipped the pass though. And it was Tompkins, and it ended up in Josh Jarrett's hand, and big fella rumbled 70 yards to the end zone, which I thought he was going to give out the gas, but he was escorted. He was escorted all the way to the end zone by Anthony Lucas, making sure that nobody came up from behind him to strip the ball. So I'm going to give. What's that?
Yeah, I was wondering, was you sure he was making sure wasn't nobody going to catch him or wasn't holding him up? He had his hand up. You sure he wasn't holding him up? Like, come on, fella.
When I saw him get to the 5-yard line and raise the ball up in the air with one hand, I was like, yeah, he gonna be good. He gonna make it. So shout out to Josh Jarrett, man, for getting that pick six, man. The big defensive lineman, and I pitch it over to you. What was your defensive player of the game?
So I knew you was going to say Josh Jarrett, so I did get some information for you. I did get some information for you. I knew that was going to be it. Shout out to Big John on that. Shout out for Anthony Lucas too for running down with it. Right. I feel like Anthony Lucas was saying, "Come on, you got it, you got it." He had his hand on his back. Keep going.
Either give it to me if you out of breath. Give it to me, and I take it the rest of the way. Right.
Right. On our live, the question came up: when was the last time that USC had a defensive lineman run an interception back? And I knew you were going to pick Josh Jarrett, so I was like, "Let me do my research."
You researched it, right? Because I think I came up with the question, right?
It was Ennis Davis in 1999.
1999?
Yep, 1999. Yep.
I could have sworn, you know what, Chris? I could have sworn that I've seen, maybe that was a fumble that Rasheem Green took back. Maybe it was a fumble. It was either Rasheem Green or Tulele that returned one, but maybe it was a fumble.
Well, but the last USC defensive lineman, Ennis Davis says 1999 returned interception for a touchdown.
Okay.
Matt, so for my defensive play of the game, I'm going to go with Bishop Fitzgerald's second interception.
Second one, right?
Yes, because man, this game was starting to feel like Maryland last year. Remember, we was up with like under 5 minutes to go, Maryland up 7, and we went to kick a field goal.
Right.
Field goal got blocked. They went down and scored, which was pretty much the end of the game. I mean, here we were up 13, trying to kick a field goal to go up 16, which would have made Purdue have to score 2 touchdowns and two extra points. We missed the field goal, and Purdue is now driving down the field. And I think all USC fans was having a flashback to Maryland and Minnesota last year, right? Like, here we go again, you know what I'm saying? And they were just going down the field at ease on the defense. And so I'm going to give my play of the game when Bishop Fitzgerald picked that ball off down there on like the 1 yard line. Yeah, because that changed. It did.
Right. It did.
That changed the game for us. So I'm going to give that second Bishop Fitzgerald interception as the defensive play of the game.
It did. You're right. It did resemble those games, but for some reason, I was still confident because, and maybe we get into this later. Oh, well, we touched on it earlier in the segment. Riley's starting to show me another side of his play calling, and this is him maturing. You mentioned it earlier, in the segment that he's been running the ball, and typically, like I said earlier, he will revert to his old stripes. You would come up, you see 3rd and 2, and him passing the ball when the run has been working, and he'll abandon it. But for some reason, he's holding true to form. He's what he said he was going to do. He's starting to really run that ball.
But here's the thing: like, as USC fans, I feel like people put Riley and the offense under a microscope, and we give a pass on the defense, right?
Okay.
Yes, you have to make that field goal to go up 16. I definitely agree. We have to do that. The field goal kicking, we have to make that. But as a defense, you can't let them go right back down the field.
Yeah,
And I say that score. I mean, the interception by Fitzgerald changes it. Right, we're up 13.
oh,
If and they score, they're in the red zone. Right, they score right there. It's a 7-point game. All they got to do is stop our offense one time. And the way that they were moving the ball, you know what I'm saying, on our defense, that's why I was like, this feels like Maryland. I never thought we would lose. I was confident the whole game. As you know, we was on the live. I was like, oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But that's where it started to resemble the last year Maryland game, the last year Minnesota game, where we have a chance to go up 2 scores and something wonky happens. Something happens that's not good for us. And then they go right down the field and score on defense. And you see what I'm saying? That's where I was saying it felt like that. But the good thing about it is this team never folded. Last year's team, when stuff like that happened, or we was getting bad calls and things didn't go our way, you can see like the air and the confidence in the team left. This year, no matter what's going on, it's like they have that confidence that we're gonna win this game. We're gonna do what it takes, that confidence. And so that's definitely the good thing. So shout outs to defensively to get our play of the game, Josh Jarrett. Get that man some oxygen. Shout out to Bishop Fitzgerald, player of the game, his second interception. So shout out to J.D. Maava and shout out to Nuke Hines for the offense play of the game. All right, we're going to move on to our next segment. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. First down. All right, 1st and 10 to go. We'll start with you. I'll take 3rd and 4th down, and you can have 1st and 2nd first. All right. Your impact players. We just looked at the play of the game, but who is your impact players from the game, offense and defensive wise?
Okay, my impact players. Of course, it was on offense. Let's go with offense. My impact player is going to be my boy Jacoby Lane. Come up with 150 receiving. And one thing I noticed about this, typically you would see one of our speedsters get behind the defense the way that they did, but the schemes that Riley, he was able to get Jacoby Lane behind the defense, and he's a big target. He's a bigger target than our other receivers. And Maava was just dropping the ball in the bucket. So on offense, my player of the game is Jacoby Lane, and on defense, my player of the game will have to go to my pick for the defensive player of the game prior to, I think it was prior to the kickoff. We picked our players of the game. E.g., my man Eric Gentry came up with 2 big sacks. He's a man. Listen, he's been so valuable to this team. Even going back to last season, I know he's had history with being injured. Even going back to the year prior to that, first coming in, he had the ankle injury in the Utah game, and then last season him having to sit out due to concussions. But knock on wood, he's been holding up fairly decent now. I understand we're just starting to get into conference play, and they really want to be cautious with how they play him. But he's been truly a disruption in that backfield and getting those sacks and altering those pass plays from the quarterback. So defensively, my player of the game is going to go to my man Eric Gentry.
All right. My defensive player of the game is going to go to Bishop Fitzgerald, right? And that's because both his interceptions were in the red zone when Perdue was going down the field pretty much with ease, and both those scores at those times would have made the game real tight. And he came up with 2 big interceptions in scoring position. One in the red zone, the other was about on the 1-2 yard line where he picked it off. So, and those changed the game. So I'm going to go with Bishop Fitzgerald. Offensively, I'm going to go with our quarterback, J.D. Maava. And the reason why is similar to what I said for player of the game, the running game was stifled before he started showing the ability to keep it and run with it, right? And it opened up a lot more of the offense. Not only that, he went through his progressions and he took what the defense gave him, and where he was going with the ball was the right read. You know what I mean? He was he was finding the right person per what the defense was playing. Even those bombs to Lane, they had, on first down, we know what Purdue was doing. Purdue was doing a lot of run blitzes. Anything above 5 yards, second and 5 or more, third and 5 or more, they were going with a 3-man rush and dropping 8 men in coverage, running a cloud forward, right? And so he did a great job of understanding when they were actually coming and when they went not. And anytime that they would come and try to man up on the outside, he would hit them over the top. He made the right reads. And the best thing that I liked about it is that he had no turnovers. And some of the best plays he made is when he just got rid of the ball when none was there and didn't force anything. So I'm going to give J.D. Malva my offensive player of the game, Bishop Fitzgerald my defensive player of the game. All right. Going on to second down. What did you learn about this USC football team from the game yesterday? If you didn't learn anything, then, it might be that you still don't know. You need to see more. But what did you learn yesterday, if anything, about this USC football team, and what does the ceiling look like?
Well, I learned that I see a lot of resilience out there. Like you said, in the face of adversity, and I was for one, saying that the way that things were lining up for them, it just didn't seem right to me. I just had a bad feeling about that game. With the weather, with the 3-hour delay, the refs, I was like, man, it just doesn't seem right. But those guys stood resilient, and like you said before in the past, this team would have packed it up. Just looking around, the team would have packed it up. When you talk about last year, even going back to 2022 when he first got here, and the offense would put up 100 points, and then the defense would turn around and give us some bad plays, and then we turn around and lose the game, keep us out of college football playoffs, and then we lose the bowl game to Tulane, or even a year after that. This team was just packed it in. Especially last season, you mentioned something about the referees, giving us our introduction, our welcome to the Big Ten, by not giving us any calls and calling everything against us. It just seemed like everything was lining up for us to lose that game. But those guys stayed resilient. They stayed on each other. They held each other accountable, and they continued to make plays on defense. That was the most important part. But what's most revealing to me, or most telling to me, is Riley's ability to take with the defense and run the ball.
Yes. That's what I learned about this USC football team too. We had so much success in the first 2 games, and we were saying when it get down to it, would we show the ability to run the ball 2 straight times if it's second and 6? I mean, there are times yesterday we ran the ball on 36, which would got us into the short 4th and 1s. You know what I mean? Right. It's because that's what the defense was giving us. They were showing assimilated pressure, but they would only send 3, right, and drop everybody else back. And the way you get them out of that is you run the ball on them. You run the ball on them. You run them out of that 3-man front. And so that's what sticked out. That's what I learned about this team, is that there's a conscious willingness, effort to run the ball this year and stay consistent with it. Because we continue to run the ball even at first where the gaps and lanes were not being open. Again, this team is mentally strong and that they can overcome adversity. In the last few years, I don't feel like our team could overcome any adversity. Like, we had to play a perfect game. Like, it couldn't be no mistakes, right? And the other thing that stick out to me is that we have the talent to overcome mistakes and adversity. You don't want to make the mistakes, but in previous years, I just don't feel like we had the overall team talent. Like, we had to play a perfect game to win. With this team, you feel like, okay, if we make some mistakes, we have a turnover, we have a busting coverage, that we can come out still on top of that, right, and finish the game. We can deal with the referees. We shouldn't have to, but if the referees are not making calls our way, we're not going to let that stop us. We're going to get up and play the next down and compete and do what it takes. So Ben, his team is mentally strong and can overcome adversity. It also showed me that we can win on this Central and Eastern time zone.
Right.
So take away that 0-14 and put 1-14, and we're gonna get some more. Right. We're gonna continue to do it this year. Again, the willingness to run it ball and stay consistent. Another thing this game showed me about this USC football team is that our true freshmen can play.
Oh yeah.
Our true freshmen can play. Jakeem Stewart looked good. Tanook looked good.
Thorpe card.
The card look
You got the
good.
stat. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. These true freshmen, we got these young guys that the future is bright, especially with the 26 class coming in. Like these kids can play, and they're true freshmen. They're playing like that now, and
And
so
you don't know what's funny with that, Chris? I had picked out them as my freshman standouts. All three that you just named: Chinook Hines, Floyd Bacard, and Jakeem Stewart. So shout out to
John
those
King's
three
good.
freshmen for taking advantage of the opportunity right here. And that's going to bode well for recruiting. It shows that the future recruits say, hey, look, you come in here, you work your butt off. Coach is not going to play in the favorites. He's going to get you in the game. So shout out to them for earning playing time. Earning playing
Yes,
time.
sir. And the last two things on second down before we move on, that stuff that I learned about this UC football USC football team yesterday. The D line can cause some havoc and can put some pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
They did all day. And the other thing is our three running backs are legit. And one might have a better game than the other, depending on the type of team we're playing in defense. Yesterday,
Which running back stood out to you yesterday?
Eli Sanders, because he was a better fit. He was a better fit for Purdue defense. Remember I told you that Purdue don't have overall team speed, and his speed was what was killing them. Eli, he got going. Waymon, he got going, but at first Purdue, before those lanes started opening up and Mava was keeping it, everybody was crashing down, and he didn't have the ability to get started. Like, as soon as he got the ball, he was looking for the hole, but it was clogged up. Eli got in, and it was like they couldn't beat him to the edge of the corner. Even though they were back there, he was outrunning them. So that's what I'm saying. These three running backs are legit, and don't be surprised each week someone has a better game than the other, and it's going to be dependent on the type of defense and how that defense is built and the type of defense that they're playing. That's why you have all these backs. Riley know what he's doing. You need different backs for different defenses to combat their strength and combat their weaknesses. All right, gonna move on. Third down. Through 3 games, right? We have 3 games so far we played. What is the biggest areas of growth on the team you have seen from USC?
I think prior years. I think you got third down and fourth down first.
No, we're on third down.
Yeah, you said you was going to take third down first and fourth down.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, I'm glad you reminded me. So through 3 games, the biggest areas of growth I've seen on this team, Jaden Mivel, and it's not that he could never throw the ball thing. It's that his decision making has been there, his ability to lead the team, his ability. He's going through all his progressions. He's not putting the ball in harm's way. Like Jaden Mivel is that guy. He's running the ball, right? When people were saying last year, oh, everyone was saying he's mobile. He's not mobile. I mean, we seen it last year that he's mobile. He just wasn't healthy. I mean, did you see him on that 4th and 1 when he had to go get it? He ran, put his head down. So I'll say that's the biggest. I'll say that's the biggest area. The other is that, man, the way the defense is getting pressures and turnovers, right, is an area of growth, and also that our commitment to running the ball. And Riley sticking and running the ball. Those are the biggest areas of growth I see. What about you?
Yeah, well, the last one you just took it right out of my mouth, man. Riley has been, he's proven that again. He's proven that he's willing to change his stripes, with running that ball. And he said that, and it's always been just coach's speak. From year to year, we've heard the same thing. We're going to focus on running the ball, but for some reason, he decided to really stick to what he said his work was going to be. And a prime example for that, like you were saying, a lot of times in those defensive fronts we saw, they would have 3 up in there, 3 in the box, and then they would have 8 back in coverage, drop back 8 back in coverage. Well, in the past, especially when we had a quarterback like Caleb Williams, he dropped back and throw the ball, right? And once they got film on Caleb and decided to start running those shell defenses where they played 6, 7, 8 defensive backs, and we were not running the ball, and we were calling for the run. Well, this would probably be an example of this game where that coach from Purdue, I won't think, what's his name, coach?
Barry Odom.
Barry Odom thought that, hey, look, Riley is going to go back to his old ways, but he didn't. His fourth quarter on one of those drives, how many times did we run the ball consecutively? It was like what?
Six. That last
Six.
drive,
Yeah,
the whole
six.
drive, the whole
The
drive. It ended
entire
in the field
drive,
goal,
and
but we ran it
all
the
out to
whole
field
time.
goal. But what's most important is what happens in that is that you don't have any clock stoppage with incomplete passes, right? You're not putting the ball in too much of harm way with the interception, but you're running that clock. You're really milking that clock by running that ball. So I want to say that the person that I see with the most growth so far through the season has been Lincoln Riley. Shout out to him.
Shout out, Coach Riley. All right. Again, this is 4th and 9 to victory. It's 4th down. We don't punt. We always go for it.
We never
we
punt.
don't
Fourth down, we
we
never
don't never punt. We don't believe in punting. So we're gonna go on to our 4th down segment. And the 4th down segment is the overall grade of the team, right? You can give your overall grade of the team last, but let's go your
Okay.
grade for defense, offense, special teams, and overall. And I have 4th down, so I'll go first.
Okay.
Defensively, I'm giving us a B right in the middle, not a B minus, not a B plus.
You give us a B?
Yeah, I'm just giving us a B. It's not so. If I
Oh
had to put it on
man.
this, if I had to put it on the scale of 100, I'd give us an 85, right?
Okay.
And the reason why is because we forced them into negative 111 yards, right, with sacks and negative plays. We got 3 turnovers. We caused the quarterback to fumble twice, even though he recovered it. We had 5 sacks, right? You know what I'm saying? So, though the defense gave up some plays through the air and on the ground, and gave up some time of possession, when it counted, they made the plays, right? Not only that, the defense scored a touchdown. I can't give them an A because of all the things we already discussed and talked about.
Right.
But I can't give them an A. Too many missed tackles, too many missed assignments, gap integrity, too many penalties, right? But they did so much good that I'm not gonna give them a C. I'm gonna give them a B, right in the middle, 85.
Okay.
Offensively, I'm gonna give the offense a B plus, right?
Okay.
They didn't have any turnovers. They were 4 for 4 on 4th down. The reason they're not getting the A is because there were many times where we were within the 10-yard line and we had to settle for 3 points.
Right.
We scored touchdowns there. This game is put away way earlier than it needs to be. So I mean, we didn't punt, right? We were 4 for 4 on 4th down, did a lot of great things. This is just me, but because we had to settle for field goals, and couldn't run it in, couldn't get in the end zone from the 10-yard line in. I'm gonna give us a B plus. Special teams get a B, right?
Mhm.
Again, I was talking about this all summer long. We can't have another year where we're missing field goals. Right. It wasn't a long field goal. That's a big play. We're up 13. We're in the 4th quarter. We're trying to go
Sure.
up 16 to where you put this team to where they got to either score 3 times, 2 touchdowns and a field goal, or score 2 times, but have to convert 2-point conversions. And we didn't make the field goal. So because of that, I can't give us an A. I got to give us a B. We also kicked the ball on the kickoff out of bounds, right? Giving them good field position, not keeping the ball in. So again, for that, I give special teams a B. So overall, the team gets a B.
Okay. All right. With me, I'm gonna go a little different. You know how I feel about our defense and negative plays. So I think on defense, you said that what was a B straight up, no B minus, no B plus.
Yeah,
All right. For defense on me, I got to go A minus. You can't justify giving a team a B straight up when they've got 4 sacks, 3 INTs. One was
5
returned
sacks.
for 5 sacks. Excuse me, 5 sacks, 3 INTs. One of them returned for a pick 6 by a defensive lineman, and a bunch of TFLs. So much to where Purdue's total net rushing yards was only about 60 to 62 yards. Sure, they got us in the air, but we made big plays. Fitzgerald made big plays when big plays were needed. So I'm going to go A minus on the defense. On the offense, I'm going to give us a B plus, and for the very same reason that you stated on your offense for fourth down, we didn't convert a lot of times. We didn't turn those red zone touches into touchdowns. We had to result. We had to settle for field goals. That's not good. Again, this may not bode well down the line when we get into tough games like against the Notre Dames on the road, the Nebraska's on the road, the Illinois on the road, and your Oregon's on the road. We're going to need to convert those attempts inside of the red zone into touchdowns. Why? Because the offenses we're going to face are going to put up points. But for most importantly, those teams are going to be watching that tape. So Riley's going to have to go in there and make some adjustments to get us back into that red zone. Of course, with us only scoring 33 points in that game, they kind of dropped our offensive total scoring average to down into the 50s. It's still a great, average, but again, we're just getting into conference play. On special teams, I'm going to give us a B for the very same point that you made. Our field goal kicker, he was on the money for the most part all night, but he had that one where it hit the upright, and it could have put us up two scores, but now 2 full scores. So, well, like you said, it would have had to score 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. But that puts us comfortably into the lead, as opposed to what we've seen before. Hey, look, we're only up 13 points. We give up a quick touchdown, and then we have a turnover on downs. Now they're looking to drive and actually steal that game away from us. So, for that point, I'm going to give a B. Overall, I'm going to give us an A minus. A minus. Overall,
hey,
what's that?
They loving you as a professor. I'm tough. Give me my red pen. I can't give you no A when you had as many defensive penalties. No, I'm saying the defense. Defense. I can't when you had that many penalties and that many, and you got over 10 plays. You got over 10 plays of 4 yards or more been laying on you.
If I had to pick my poison, though, give me the poison that includes some sugar in it. What's the sugar? Sugar in it is the 5 sacks. The 5 sacks, the 3 INTs, the 1 return for a pick 6 by a defensive lineman, 70 yards. How can you justify not giving them an A minus on that? But overall, I want to give them an A minus. The coaching staff for keeping these guys heads in the game, keeping them stretched, keeping them mentally focused and ready to go, because we could have went in there with that 3-hour weather delay and just called it in. The guys could have got relaxed and distracted, I would say, with other things. You could have seen them on their phones, but you didn't. Pre-game, what did you see them doing? You saw them relax. You saw them riding a bike. You saw them stretching. It wasn't a whole bunch of laughing. You said they were still mentally checked in and focused. And when they celebrated after the win. So overall, I'm gonna give them an A minus.
All right, your boy B Jinx giving them an A minus. I'm giving them a.
I'm benevolent today. I feel benevolent today.
All right, so that wraps up our recap. Just a couple of quick reminders, man. Thank you. We had so many people join Saturday and call in. Yeah. We have people from Japan, New Zealand, Ohio. So we definitely appreciate everyone stopping by, liking, subscribing, commenting. Make sure you hit that bell. We'll have another episode come out on Wednesday morning, where we'll be going through the position groups and giving our grades on that. Next Saturday, we will be back live, right, for the game, as we always do, taking calls, comment, breaking down the game schematically, giving live by live updates. The next game will be this Saturday versus Michigan State. We back at home in the Coliseum. Kickoff time is 10 o'clock p.m. So excuse what's on here.
Central time, 10 p.m. Central time. That's 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 8
wait. What's that? Oh, my bad. That's right.
Right.
That's right. Go ahead.
So again, kickoff time for this Saturday, the USC Trojans going against the Michigan State Spartans. We're going to kick it off from the Coliseum, 8 p.m. West Coast time, 10 p.m. Central Time, and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, we'll be on 30 minutes prior to kickoff. We're going to go over the pregame matchups, what we expect from the team, and we'll go through our 4 down keys for victory.
Yep, we'll be breaking down Michigan State as far as what we see off of them from film, kind of what we can expect, who our impact players will be, etc. So we'll be here at 9:30 Central. The game starts 10 o'clock Central, so we'll be here at 9:30 Central time, doing the USC versus Michigan State preview, breaking them down schematically wise as we always do. Again, we definitely appreciate everybody stopping by, liking, subscribing, and sharing. Make sure you hit that notification bell real soon. We're going to be doing some special drawings and things of that nature for giveaways and things of that nature like that. So we definitely don't want you to miss out on it. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell, man. And until later on, man, as always, thanks everybody. Like, subscribe, and share, comment, and fight on.
Fight on.